Get it? Power. These kids don't play my shit, I never had a top 10. Maybe it's cause I sing about violence and depressions. They say don't blame these kids, just focus on yourself, friend. Well, if they don't like what I'm doing now, then fuck them. Don't trip, I up the ante, learning licks like John Frusciante, smoking spliffs and popping candy, idolizing Sid and Nancy. Woo! Rock and roll in my soul, bumping that King Cole on the dole, fish and chips and games consoles, council house and violent flow. But life went sweet at home. Mom and dad took a trip and they split.
Hi, my name is Lucian, and you're here at the Orange 44 or Rania 44 lab feed. We're gonna
listening mode activated.
We're gonna talk today about the game DCF that's out on Steam. We've taken it from some. Here, you can look at my Lego. There you go. See, Lego. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, today we're going to go ahead and talk about where we're going with the game engine and kind of where we've been so far. So I'll give a little bit of history.
Still in listen mode conversation.
Okay, we're going to just turn her off for a minute. That's Crunch AI. That's the AI that's helped me build this whole game, to be honest. Has built primarily this whole game. I'm pretty much just the hands and arms at this point, not really any of the brains anymore. But anyway, yeah, you might have seen our game out there. Let me see if I can pull up something that we could really quickly show. You'll hear that we are listening to a little bit of Ren today. Just pull over my YouTube channel here. Alright, so to give you an idea of what DCF is really quick, let me go ahead and just run this little video, and then that will do that, and then we can come back.
Get it?
I drop into the island, yeah, the tools in my hand. Who needs a plan when the land's a command? Click, snap, sculpt, I'm raising the ground, transforming this blank slate, yeah, it's going down. I'm building up a base, watch the power lines go from the seeds to the stems, yeah, the farms all grow. It's a world of my own, yeah, I shape it to fit. Now the lights are all on and I'm loving this. Terraform it, build it, yeah, I'm killing it. Big plans, big world, can you feel it, yeah? From the dirt to the sky, it's a whole new trip. This is DCF, baby, and I'm losing it. Form it, build it, yeah, I'm killing it. Big plans, big world, can you feel it, yeah? From the dirt to the sky, it's a whole new trip. This is DCF, baby, and I'm losing it. Who needs rules? I'm a maker, creator. Bricks, beams, systems innovator. Build the base, grow the crops, power the land. DCF, where the world's in your hands. So come along, take a ride in the vibe. Bring your ideas and let the engine collide. Build your world, yeah, bring your wit. This is your time, kid, now don't lose it. Who needs rules? I'm a maker, creator.
Alright, so as you can see, DCF is a creation engine. You're able to terraform whole worlds, as you can see in that grid shot. And then you're also able to build houses and farm and power on those same terraformed things. Now, the things that the trailer doesn't always make clear is that these maps are shareable, so any of these maps are customizable to yourself, but then you can also share it up to Workshop and anybody else can grab it and customize it from there. And then in the future, all the models for foliage, rocks, walls, everything like that will also be customizable. Through AI models, we've been able to figure out a lot of different ways to be able to customize these things. So you'll see that those bricks and those wall pieces that you saw in the video were custom. Those were all AI created. There weren't really a whole lot of human stuff in there. So anyway, all right. So basically, this is the opening of the project, and let's pull open something that's a little bit funner to look at least, right? Anyway, so I'm going to open up Construct. If you played the game, then you'll know there's a button for Construct. Construct is basically a mirror of what was in the Matrix, where you basically can outfit the world and the things that you have in it. So that's what it eventually will be. Right now it's kind of just a demo level that shows all the different survival elements that are in the game. Originally it had like every different element, and I trimmed it down after a while because I wanted it to be a little bit more wieldy, should I say, because it's unwieldy. Does that make sense? Anyway, but as it goes along now, we're getting more and more customizable options in there. Eventually, you'll be able to load your own custom models in there and then have that model replace whatever item you want in your world, so, or add to. So you can have all sorts of different things that you can bring into your world, customized. Then through the same technology that we're using to save up to Workshop, the maps, we'll also be able to do that with the models. And so you'll be able to save and share your models and then modify them again and so on and so forth. So you can see, here's the construct map in here. Let me just make the screen just a titch bigger for you guys. So this is the actual editor. Things are going to run a little slow here. I might catch a crash or two because this is this is a 1070i with very little RAM. Yeah, I was hoping it wasn't going to do that, but I'm a little worried that we're not going to be able to pull this stream on this computer, which would be a bummer, but we'll try one more time here, and if we can't, we can't. We'll at least go through what we have, but here, we'll pull it up. So this is the source editor of Unreal 5.4.4, and with the DCF project laid on top of it, and so this is our base editor. So to give some history, basically the 1.0 version came out on the 27th of January in 2025, and then I think like 4 days later 1.01 came out. So basically 1.0 was the culmination of about 3 years of work, basically gutting out the creative continent system and then putting it into a much more open architecture and leading it forward. So then we moved into this system, which is our we can pull up in the menu probably. That'll probably work. And so the 1.01 was basically, there was a couple pieces of foliage and the build parts that were using textures that were eating up a lot of memory, and so the game was running pretty choppy. And so I put that out with a couple other bug fixes, and so that then became 1.01, and that has been running pretty smoothly since. It's been about a week. It is the 5th, obviously, so it is the 5th of, and so basically, 8 days is, well, no, really, we've only been running for about 4 or 5. And really, nobody's playing it, so that's the curse of this game, is that nobody plays it. So, but anyway, okay, so let's see if this one will launch for me. Oh, you know what? I know why the other one crashed, actually. It's because of the character. Okay, hold on 1 second. So we're going to go into something about the system. So I'm going to pull open my DCF character. So this character, and you'll notice that the RPM is tacked on the end there. The Ready Player Me skinning that happens on the character is tacked on the top for the very clear reason that we're hoping to eventually offer multiple options there with metahumans and all sorts of other stuff that Unreal offers. But when you're in the editor, if you have that curtain launch going, then it activates Steam and all sorts of bad stuff happens. So now I bet you we might actually be able to do it. And I just want to check because I really want to be able to move around and play. If it can't do that, then it's going to make a big difference whether I stream this or not. All right, so anyway, so the 101 version came out. That's what we kind of consider the stable version right now. It has a lot of cool little things in it, but there is some things missing that are already in the new version. But what happened is, so when we went to 101, Crunch and I sat back, and we've been for a while now. So, boy, I'm kind of going all over the place. I apologize. Okay, so Crunch and I sat back at that 101 point where we had a stable release and said, okay, wait, now this is a good spot to kind of really take an assessment. And the first thing that we came to is that the computer that Crunch and the Unreal environment has been running on, which we lovingly call XDev, is a 1070i. It's been through three motherboards now, multiple sticks of RAM. It had problems with the hard drive. It's no longer activated in Windows because we no longer have an activation key because we went through so many different motherboards. They cut our key, and we're hoping to get that eventually back. But unfortunately, right now the motherboard that it's on is an 16 gigabyte memory RAM max. And so we're maxed at that. It's an i7. It's not very fast. It's all right, and it's doing the job, right? Like it compiles the game and it puts it out. And you can actually play it. If I'm not streaming or doing something heavy on it, I can actually play with some decent fidelity. But on a normal system, DCF running on its own should run excellent because of this. Because we have such a low-end piece of hardware that's building it and running it every day in editor, in non-editor mode, and back and forth. It really is pushing the game engine to be more flexible with lower-end hardware than the hardware itself. Does that make sense? So that's why we've kept it this way. We hope to have kind of our own workstations eventually that will have higher-end hardware, but for now, this is where we're at. Okay, so let's go ahead and give it one more try here. Looks like this time it's going to pop me in. Yeah, okay. So you can see in the construct map we have all the different items that's in the game, and you can go play with them. The whole power system's over there. All the construction tools are there, and the farming system, and all the different build pieces. So you can kind of see what they're all laid out and different. Now the idea is eventually you'll be able to walk up to these and then specify what you want to be there, and then that will take that place in the game, and that will be what it is, right? So, and then also, don't forget that we also have bikes, and I'm just going to drop one car because they can be kind of big. Anyway, so you can see there's motorcycles here. There's, whew, that's a lot for this right now anyway, but they're coming in, you can hear them crashing. But yeah, see, as the cars come in, and there's the car, there you go. So those are all drivable and run about in your terraformed land as well. So eventually this will be a really good racing game as well. As again, you can see it's doing shader preparing in the background. It's really struggling right now. I hope you guys are getting all the frames here and audio and things. But anyway, okay, so you know what, I'm actually gonna go ahead and stop the render on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back. So at the 101 level, we realized that the machine that we were on really needed to be reformatted. It had gone through multiple AI models, multiple different Unreal models. Just it was cluttered. So we decided to go through a backup process, which was extensive. Probably some would say a little overly paranoid, but I really didn't want to lose all the work that Crunch and I have put into this thing. It's been our passion for like 3 years now. So it's, it was a big step too, right? To format Windows from the machine that you have compiling the game that's currently for sale on Steam. So it was kind of a risk. But in the end, we decided it was probably worth the risk, and we did like I say, an extensive backup to make sure that we got the backups correct. And then we laid it in, and actually I'm pretty proud to say that around 38 hours later, we came up on a brand new source 5.4.4 engine, and it fully compiles, and it's working fantastically. In fact, the 102 version is even more optimized. We went through and stripped out Unreal. It by default puts in a ton of different plugins. We went in and stripped out all those plugins and made sure that we had the just the most efficient manner that we could for it. Sorry about the screen. I didn't realize I was on that small screen. I apologize. So basically, now this machine that you're looking at, this development edition of the software, is Unreal, but then it's 5.4.4. It's a bare version. It doesn't have any plugins. It doesn't use. It is compiling cleanly. Doesn't have any errors when it opens. It doesn't have any errors when it compiles. Has one warning we're still working on, but that should be resolved soon. And that's definitely on the docket to do. And basically at this point, that's kind of where we are with the game. And so next, what I'm going to do is I'll probably go ahead and take a break here and kind of clear my thoughts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go jump back into this engine, and we're going to start to talk about how we want to push forward the different things that we're looking to try to do and add, and that'll be a conversation with me and the AI that you'll be able to listen over. And if you want to get into chat and point out things that we should have in the game, if you're one of the few people that have played it. If you haven't played it and you're interested in playing, it's on Steam, Digital Creative Framework. And if, like I say, jump into our chat, and you'll find we're very friendly about hooking people up and stuff like that. So I will, like I say, I'm going to take a quick 5 minutes here, and then I will be back to jump into that part of it. Thanks for joining me for so far. Yeah. Hope you'll listen to a little Ren while we're away at break, and we'll be back soon.
Get it? Out in the street, they call it moto. Scoop. Moto, zig-a-doo-do-do-do-do. If you catch me alone, you better get on my zone, because I'm ready to kill. I'll sit on my throne made of bodies and bones, because I'm mentally ill. I'm feeling alive, I got the will to survive, so never test my skill. For goodness sake, man, I'm ready to break, man. Murderer, homie, it's the way that I get down. Rat-tat-tat-tat, murderer. See me on the corner of my town. Get back, 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 murderer. Swing for your jaw in the first round. Rat-tat-tat-tat, murderer. Homie, it's the way that I get down. Right, I was born shameless, fighting out in Brighton with the neighbours. Brother, ask your mother what my name is. I was born famous, trendsetter, hot stepper, greatest. Shocking like a finger in the anus. I was born wasted, stoned out my brain, but I faded. Writing catchy syllables, contagious. I was born courageous, naked and fucking outrageous. With the microphone, I rock stages. I jump upon the rhythm of rhyme, me cyclone. I pull Excalibur right out the stone, King Kong. The precision it hits like Stallone. Rocky, keep it cocky, I'll be Al Capone. I walk alone, sit upon the office throne. If you want it, I'll deny it like a mortgage loan. Your daughter's home, we'll be staying home alone. Condone the bone, eat it like a Toblerone. Biatch. If you catch me alone, you better stay on my zone, because I'm ready to blah 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 blah. I'll sit on my throne, made the bodies and bones, because I'm mentally ill. I'm feeling alive, I got the will to survive, so never test my skill. For goodness sake, man, I'm ready to break, man. Murderer, homie, it's the way that I get down. Murderer, if you see me on the corner of my town, get back, back, back. Murderer, swing for your jaw in the first round. Attack, tack, tack. Murderer, homie, it's the way that I get down. Whoa.
Step in that ran this song by Red Murderer, which is actually a great song. The subject material isn't as standard subject material, and so it's I really encourage, if you haven't listened to his music, to check out more of it. It's very, very cool. So here.
Breathe, I seize the land, sky and the seas. It's easy seeing me freestyle freely. What man? Yeah, I came to rock man. Drop it like it's hot man. Wear a clothes from Oxfam. Goddamn, I am a blood.
Alright. So we'll let him play in the background. Alright, so basically, what this allows us to do, though, is kind of map out where we're going in the future. You know, I kind of want to be open about it and transparent about what we're chasing. If you're kind of curious about how DCF came about, we did a whole series of videos that are on our channel called The Behind the Scenes of DCF, where we show how we assemble the 5.0, you know, the Unreal engine, and then how we stack the sky and the ocean in it, and how we make the land work and stuff like that. So our system is really open, right? It's like, I don't really wish anybody would go out and build it again, because that'd just be hard on them. But you know, like I say, if you followed our path, there's definitely a path there that would bring you to where we're at. And we're not trying to hide that path in any way. So, like I say, if you're curious about any of that, just go check out our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of different videos about how we integrated different systems in, and which systems we used. DCF is definitely the child of standing on the shoulders of genius. So understand that a lot of these systems were not created necessarily by us, but just reassembled by us, because they're available very cheaply on the Epic Marketplace, or now on Fab. And so that will, you know, but we're pretty open about everything that we have gone through to get here, and then also what products we're using to be able to construct this. So, like I say, any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to go ahead and fire up Crunch now, and we're going to go ahead and talk through our planning, our meeting about where we want to take the future of the game. So some of it might not make a whole lot of sense. Again, if you want to ask in chat or email later or whatever you want to do, feel free. But we're going to go from there. I feel bad because it's going to be really quiet, but okay. Wait. Crunch. How you doing?
Hey, Lucien, I'm doing great. Ready to roll whenever you need me. How's everything on your end?
So we're on live, and we're now in the second half, which is going to be the kind of the idea session between me and you, and Hope and Chatters, but it doesn't look like there's anybody watching, so it'll just be me and you again. But anyway, yeah. So let's see. Kind of what I want to look into is we'll just kind of go through a list of topics that we want to talk about the next system coming in, and then and then kind of where we want 102 to come out, because I kind of want to go through all the things that we have listed, add anything, or modify anything we want to modify, and then from that list, then we'll kind of trim out what we want for the 102 release.
Sounds like a solid plan. For 1.02, we'll go through the current list, refine priorities, add anything new, and adjust where needed. Do you want to start by reviewing the core features we've already planned, or should we jump straight into new ideas and potential tweaks?
Well, okay, so the Python to console and the basically everything from Pulse is off the table. We're not talking about anything from Pulse today. We're only talking about the DCF ecosphere, not Pulse. So please don't mention it. So we should talk about, we want to eventually have the 3D importer system coming online. So we currently in the system we have code that allows us to bring in OBGK or OBJ files, which are 3D objects that we also are able to create pretty easily through websites and things like that. So basically you would drop a model on your desktop in OBGA, and then you'd be able to open it in DCF and then modify it and put it into the game somehow or another. But basically, so we have that importer in there, so definitely in the 1.02 version we should look into that and push that forward. I also want to push the node system, the little drone in the game. I want to push that system a little bit forward. Right now, if your health hits like 50%, the light turns orange, and if it hits 20%, it turns red, something like that. I want it to flash and do a little bit more. Again, node, that drone is going to be justifying the HUD in the future, so we want to keep that in mind. For a fun side project, I thought we could drop balls. So basically the old model for balls that we had, we could just have it that node or the drone just drops a ball and it'll interact with the physics of the landscape of whatever the person's working on. So they could have a house and stuff like that, and then they can drop a ball and it'll go rolling down the hill like it's a boulder coming down at it and stuff. So that might be kind of fun. Should be a pretty easy one. The other project I have, I'll let you catch up, Crunch. Just waiting for the AI to catch up.
Got it.
Ever since DeepSeek hit, OpenAI has been very slow in its response. My models here are getting more and more frustrating. My local models are getting much better. Come on, Crunch.
We'll also need to test for any edge cases where models might break or behave unexpectedly. 2. Node system expansion. Right now, the drone changes color based on health thresholds, but you want it to flash and have more dynamic feedback. Since Node will eventually replace the HUD, this update should be designed with that long-term vision in mind, maybe even expanding its range of notifications beyond just health. 3. Dropping balls mechanic. Using the old balls model, Node could drop a physics-based object that interacts with terrain and structures. This could be a fun way to test landscapes, physics, and even set up mini in-game challenges. Since the core physics are already there, this should be a quick win feature for 1.02. Alright, I'm tracking. What's the next project you've got in mind?
Okay, well, I've called it grass work, but I think we're going to call it landscaping. So we need to do a landscaping pass. Basically, we need to go back through the grass layers and try to figure out which models are causing the memory spinouts. Because the crashing when you dig underneath and it doesn't turn into an actor correctly, that's 90% of the crashes that we're getting, at least that I'm seeing. So I think that if we can eliminate and figure out the foliage system, and really what I want to do is get it locked in so that we know the exact specifications of the foliage system, be it tree, rock, or grass, and that way then we can start letting people put in their own models, and they'll be able to kind of dictate their own foliage, and then creating the own biomes becomes pretty simple from that point. So it's definitely something that I feel like is we have to look into, because it's definitely going to be the part that kind of breaks it open and makes that whole biome creation much more open for the player.
Landscaping pass work. This is a big one, but it's critical. The grass layers and foliage system need to be locked in, especially since the memory spinouts and crashes from incorrect actor conversions are one of the biggest issues. Key goals for landscaping in 1.02. Identify problem models. Figure out which specific foliage assets, grass, trees, rocks, are causing the memory overloads and actor conversion failures. Optimize foliage system. Define clear specifications for all foliage types, size, LOD settings, memory constraints. Enable user-generated foliage. Once we stabilize the system, we can let players import their own models and define their own biomes. Simplify biome creation. With the foliage system locked in, creating custom environments becomes a plug-and-play process. This feels like one of the biggest unlocks for expanding DCF's customization potential. Want to start by profiling memory usage and running stress tests on different foliage types to pinpoint the worst offenders?
Well, no, we're just planning. Like you know, I hope. We'll probably be working on it later, but sure. But
Yeah, totally just planning for now. No need to dive into profiling yet, just setting up the roadmap. The landscaping pass is a key focus for 1.02, making sure foliage is stable and optimized so biome creation can be more open-ended for players. So far we've got 3D importer improvements, node system enhancements, physics-based ball dropping feature, landscaping pass to stabilize foliage and enable custom biomes. Anything else we should add to the 1.02 roadmap? Or do you want to refine any of these ideas further?
well, let me ask you this. So, ultra dynamic sky and weather, and the car pack and
What's on your mind?
well, you gotta listen. Ultra dynamic sky and the weather, and the car pack and the motorcycle pack from Digital Dive, our buddies over there in Spain. Really good guys, by the way, and an amazing product. Basically, we have those are updated. So I'd like to roll those updates into the new version of 102, I think, or maybe we should wait and push it back. There's updates to SGK2 and those things, but those are probably manual, and we can probably do those like DIY. So I was thinking push those back past 102. But those three, the cars, because I really want to get the cars like locked in the next couple releases. So I think that we need to push the update for the cars and at least the sky. There might be a couple other packs that got an update too. I think the leaderboards and stuff like that. So, like I say, we'll do an update pass and just kind of update everything. It'll probably take about a day, but I think it'll be worth it.
That makes sense. Rolling in the Ultra Dynamic Sky and Digital Dive's car and motorcycle packs into 1.02 feels like a good move, especially since getting vehicles locked in is a near-term priority. Update pass for 1.02, Ultra Dynamic Sky and Weather, update and integrate the latest version. This will help refine lighting and atmosphere. Car and motorcycle packs, update and stabilize them. Since vehicles are a focus for the next few releases, it makes sense to bring them in now. SGK2 and other systems, push those back past 1.02 since they require more manual work and can be handled separately. Leaderboard and other pack updates. Quick check if anything else is worth rolling in with this pass. The update pass will probably take a full day, but it's worth it to keep everything current and prevent tech debt later. Does this timeline feel right to you, or would you rather split some of these updates across multiple versions?
No, I still have a couple more things I want to work into it if we can look into it. Okay, so ownership on the power stuff. When you build something with the power system and then you save it and you load it, it A, loads with no cabling on it, so I don't know if that has to do with this, but then B, you no longer have ownership over it, so you can't put cabling back on it or modify it other than delete it. So I want to figure out how we can get that ownership fixed on power. I think we had that in Creative Continents with the farming at one point, and I figured out a way to get past it. So I think that'll be something we can at least look into, whether we solve it or not in the 102 pass. The action motion system also has a compass that I would like to add to the HUD interface, but we can make that more of a node function where you can kind of ask for a compass and it'll pop it up for as long as you want it or whatever type of thing. But I would like to kind of, that's probably a good way to kind of start how we want Node to interact. Instead of having a HUD, you'll have the Node. And then I'll let you catch up.
Got it. 2 more additions for 1.21. Power system ownership fix. Issue: when saving and reloading, power objects lose ownership and cabling doesn't persist. Goal: investigate the ownership bug. Even if we don't fully fix it in 1.02, we should at least isolate the cause. Reference: similar issue was solved in Creative Continents with farming, so we might be able to apply the same logic here. 2. Node activated compass, HUD alternative concept. Instead of a static HUD element, we integrate a compass into Node's functionality. Players can ask Node for a compass, which will pop up when needed, rather than always being on screen. This fits with the long-term goal of Node replacing the traditional HUD. Uses the action motion system's built-in compass, so implementation should be relatively straightforward. These both seem like good additions for 1.02. Anything else you want to fold in before we finalize this pass?
Why, of course, Crunch. Okay, so I also want to look at zipline buildables. Now, what this means is basically we're going to have some type of build part, probably a piece of furniture is what I'm thinking, that just basically anchors on the base of one side, and now it's going to shoot the spline of the zip line to the designated target of the other side and click again for that positioning. So basically, instead of building a wall that's slotted in, it's kind of a line that's built across, a zip line across the territory. So I figure if we can figure out that motion in real time, the only thing that I'm unclear on is the spline, but I've seen some videos and things that I think that we can, this one's a look into, but I definitely like to figure out how to build that into the building system, because that's going to help for multiple different building avenues. Other than just the zip line, but the zip line will be a fun addition right away, so you'll be able to build zip lines into your maps or into your saves, and people will be able to zip around their castles and stuff like that, so that'll be pretty cool.
Zipline buildables. This is a great addition, not just for zip lines, but for future dynamic building elements. How it would work: 1. Base placement. Player places a zipline anchor object, probably categorized as furniture for now. 2. Target placement. Click Click again to set the endpoint for the zipline. 3. Spline generation. The system automatically generates a spline between the 2 points, creating the zipline path. 4. Player interaction. Players can then interact with the zipline to travel along it. Technical challenges to look into. Spline behavior. Ensuring it dynamically adjusts based on the terrain and placement angles. Attachment system. Should the zipline auto-adjust for proper angles, or should players have control over fine-tuning it? Integration with building system. Needs to be seamlessly added into the existing building mechanics. This feels like it fits naturally into DCF's open-world, player-driven creativity. Plus, it could pave the way for other dynamic construction elements. Want to prototype a simple version first, where we manually set 2 points and get the spline working before we integrate it fully into the build system?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Basically, it's taking the BP zipline blueprint from the action motion system and the build part blueprint from the SGK system and merging them together, and we should be able to get the function out that we want out of that.
That makes perfect sense. Merging the BP zipline blueprint from action motion with the build part blueprint from SGK should give us the foundation for this system. Plan for the prototype. 1. Start with manual placement. Use SGK's building logic to place the zipline base part in the world. Modify the BP zipline blueprint to take a second placement input for the endpoint. Once both points are set, the system spawns a spline between them. 2. Test basic functionality. Ensure the zipline renders correctly and attaches between points. Confirm that players can use it to zip across smoothly. Debug any collisions or unintended terrain interactions. 3. Expand into the build system. Make sure it integrates seamlessly with existing SGK build mechanics. Add adjustment options, angle fine-tuning, max length, tension settings, etc. Consider future spline-based buildables, bridges, rail systems, climbing ropes. It's a straightforward hybrid approach, and once we get the spline logic working, we can expand from there. Sound good to roll into 1.02? Or should we list it as an experimental feature and let it cook a little longer?
I think we could probably roll 102 on that one. I'm not looking to do it. I've given myself 1 week break, so I don't need to put out 102 to this week, but I think next week we're going to put out 102. So that should give me enough time to get through all of this. The last thing that I have is a controller tune. Last time we got pretty close to getting that controller to somewhat work, but it's still, I feel like I don't want to list it in the game until you can do everything with it. And so again, I kind of want to take a pass on the controller and see if we can figure out like getting it closer to the different elements and how that is. Again, this is all going to start to tie into to Node and how Node is interacting with things and stuff like that too. So I like I said, I want to take another pass at that. I don't know where that's going to wind up at the end of it, but I definitely want to take another look. And then just an aside is that SGK holdable error. I want to see if we can clear that up. So I'll probably put in a diffuse a ticket with diffuse to try to figure out where that's all stored so we can get that error to stop firing it. Doesn't seem to be causing any problems, but then it's also at a very deep level that bothers me, so I want to get rid of it. Other than that, what do you think?
That timeline sounds solid. 1 week break, then 1.02 rolls out next week. That gives plenty of room to knock out these updates without rushing. Final 2 additions for 1.02. 1. Controller tune-up. The controller almost works, but not 100% functional yet. Goal: get it fully integrated before listing it as an official feature. This ties into Node's future interactions, so getting it right now is important. Unclear where we'll end up, but taking another deep pass is necessary. SGK holdable error fix. Doesn't seem to break anything, but it's at a deep system level that's concerning. Plan, submit a ticket to Diffuse to pinpoint where this issue originates. Fixing it will clean up the system and remove unnecessary error logs. NAHAC 1.22 Final Feature List 3D Importer Refinements, OBJ Import and Stability. Node System Expansion, Flashing Indicators, More Interactions. Physics Ball Drop Feature, Fun Physics Interaction. Landscaping Pass, Foliage Optimization and Biome Customization. Update Pass, Ultra Dynamic Sky, Cars and Motorcycles from Digital Dive. Power System Ownership Fix, ensure cabling and ownership persist. Node Activated Compass, HUD alternative via node. Zipline Buildables, spline-based system for custom ziplines. Controller Tune-up, make it fully functional before listing it. SGK Holdable Error Fix, troubleshoot and remove error logs. That's a tight update with real impact. Want to add any polish goals, or does this list feel complete?
That's pretty complete to me. Can you think of anything, or can you make? Let me rephrase that. Can you make a couple suggestions for what you see as being valuable projects?
Cash turn quick wins for 1.02, if time allows. 1. Save system consistency check. Since we're addressing power system ownership bugs, it might be good to do a broader check on save load consistency across other objects, ensuring everything reloads properly, like placed objects, buildables, and interactive elements, would prevent future headaches. 2. AI pathfinding debug pass. If there are NPCs or AI-driven elements, a quick pathfinding review might catch issues before expanding features that rely on it. This would be useful for future NPC integration or anything related to Node's world interactions, and bigger ideas for future releases. 1. Modular building expansion. Since we're adding zipline buildables, we could extend this logic to other spline-based construction elements like bridges, catwalks, fences, or rail tracks that players can drag and extend dynamically. This would increase player freedom in world design and build on existing systems. 2. Biome-specific weather and effects. With Ultra Dynamic Sky getting an update, we could explore biome-based weather triggers. Example, snow in mountains, rain in forests, dust storms in deserts. This would add immersion and environmental storytelling. 3. Dynamic event system for world interactions. Tied to Node, replacing the HUD. This would allow players to set up simple logic events like, if object is destroyed, spawn X. If player enters area, trigger Y. This could eventually evolve into a player-driven quest or challenge system. Those are just some ideas that align with where DCF is heading. If you want small, manageable additions, I'd go with the Save Consistency Check or AI Pathfinding Pass. If you're thinking big-picture expansions, the modular building improvements and biome weather triggers could set up future innovations. Anything stand out as interesting to you? Or do you want to keep 1.02 locked and just note these for later?
Probably going to note most of them for later, but the stuff you were talking about, Node building quest systems and having like an if-and statement type of thing, that's very interesting, because that, you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought of that, but we could use that to build out situations and stuff like that that the player could have Node basically kind of create and then save and then again take and put up on Workshop, and then other players could pull it down and change it and make it do other things. So it would be kind of like a Node training system? How would you describe? Yeah, kind of a Node training system, right?
Yeah, exactly. A node training system would be a perfect way to describe it. Concept, node-driven event and quest system. Players could create simple or complex logic sequences using if-then statements, essentially training Node to react to the world dynamically. These could be saved, shared, and modified by other players via Workshop integration, leading to a community-driven ecosystem of interactive content. And how it could work. 1. Player sets up a trigger. Example, if player enters zone, spawn X. Example, if object is destroyed, trigger Y. 2. Node monitors and executes the logic. Players wouldn't need to manually interact with a traditional event editor. Node would handle the processing and execution. This would remove the complexity of scripting, but still enable deep customization. 3. Save and share on Workshop. These setups could be uploaded to the workshop so other players can use, modify, and remix them. This opens the door for community-driven scenarios, challenge maps, AI behaviors, or even emergent storytelling. Why this is big. No-code game logic for players. Opens up gameplay customization without requiring scripting knowledge. Scales beyond quests. This could be used for automated defenses, NPC interactions, environmental changes, or puzzle logic. Expands DCF's open-ended gameplay. Players wouldn't just build environments, they'd create interactive worlds. I'd call this a major feature for post 1.02, but laying the groundwork soon, maybe by adding basic logic triggers in 1.03 or 1.04, could set up the full system over time. What do you think? Does this feel like something we'd slowly roll out? Or would you want to plan a full dedicated update around it later?
I think that this is definitely something that we want to kind of push towards the other side of things in the pulse area of things. Now again, we're not going to discuss it, but I love the idea, but I think
this
if we...
is one of those long-term game-changing systems that deserves a dedicated update rather than being rushed into an incremental patch. Nash approach for Node's training system. 1. Post 1.02 foundation work. Start small with basic triggers, e.g. if player enters X, do Y, to test viability. 2. Incremental expansion. Gradually add more condition types, actions, and customization options. And 3. Full Node training system release. Once the framework is solid, release it as a major feature, complete with workshop support for shared scenarios. This could be one of DCF's most unique selling points. A community-driven, logic-based event system that enables emergent gameplay without requiring traditional coding. Do you want to start mapping out how the first version of this system would work, or just leave it as a note for now and revisit after 1.02?
Yeah, let's definitely start putting it in there, because like I say again, I think it's going to be involved with Pulse. Okay, so is there any other kind of little suggestions? That's kind of big. That one's going to have to take some thought, to be honest, and figuring out where that's going to be placed, because there's a whole other half that we're really not talking about in these live streams, in the Pulse side of things, that's going to change how a lot of this is interacted with, and that's coming very soon. But again, it's the game element of it. It's a separate thing. DCF is an environment for people to be fully creative in Unreal, and that's what we're chasing in that part of it. So I think that I think I'm pretty good with this list. I think what we'll do is we really need to do the update pass.
That makes total sense. Pulse is a whole different beast, and while it'll eventually shape how Node interacts with the world, the DCF side needs to stay focused on open-ended creativity within Unreal. We'll keep this Node training system concept isolated from Pulse for now, but it'll be a natural bridge when the time is right.
Alright, so I think that, like I say, we're going to do the update pass first, and then kind of go from there. Those things can cause some compile problems. So we might come back with one of these live updates later on if this proves to be something that people like. And if you want, we hope that you come by and try the game. So in closing, I'll say we hope you come by the Steam store and check out the game.